So it's finally time now where we're going to put the flooring in, so the top layer of the floor. We've left this to very last because, as you can see from the floor, this thing gets absolutely destroyed when you're building the van. There's glue, paint, dirt, oil, all sorts of stuff. It gets scratched to bits. Our last vans, we actually did the floor first and we kept dropping things on it and screwing it up. So there's a whole different floor overlays to choose from. You've got engineering floor, which is like a really thin layer of real wood over plywood, vinyl, laminate, and they all have their own uses. But we really wanted to have real wood in the van, and we also wanted to keep the weight down. So I've been able to source something I haven't seen anyone actually use on a van build before, and this is solid hardwood, but it's only 10 millimeters thick. This is spotted gum, an Australian wood species, hardwood species, and it's designed to go over the top of an old existing hardwood floor or something like that. So it's designed to save quite a bit of vertical height space. So this is perfect for what we want. It's really lightweight, it's hardwood, and it's gonna look amazing. So the way we're gonna do it is, first of all, clean this entire floor as it is filthy. So we're gonna give it a good sand, and then we'll glue the floor down. Because hardwood flooring isn't that cheap, I didn't want to cover the whole floor of the van. So we're only really going to be covering the part where you're gonna be stepping on. So nothing under the kitchen and under the benches, and in the back, that's all gonna be bare timber. So I think that's pretty smart. You don't need to cover your whole floor with timber if you're not going to be seeing it or using it. So that's just a little note to keep in mind. You can see the difference between sanded and non-sanded and how dirty the floor gets over time. And I also pretty much use this as a chopping board and cut a lot of things with the Stanley knife. So I think it was a good choice to put the floor down later. Okay, so it's now time to lay the floorboards. I'm going to lay all my boards out first before gluing them down. And I'm just making sure, because this is a live wood floor, you do have to create a space around all the hard edges for expansion and contraction and the heat and stuff. So I've just cut these 7mm pieces of plywood and I'm just lying them around the corners. And I'm going to line my boards up to that so I know that I'm going to be leaving an even space. Oh wow.
That's so amazing. Oh wow, oh wow.
Super red.
Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Oh wow, look.
Look at this. Hardwood, solid hardwood.
That's so nice.
Alright, so we're about to glue the floor down. I've got these sausages of Sika floor adhesive, and these go into a sausage gun. I've never actually used one of these before, so this will be interesting. But essentially I'm just going to be leading a bead down and then getting my
One eternity later.
So essentially I'm just going to be leading a bead down with this and then getting my notch trowel and putting a notch down. I'm going to pin the first one down just with the nail gun so that doesn't move. Alright, so let's get started with the gluing. This shit is messy, it's going to stick to everything. So the way I'm gluing these boards down is very similar to tiling, where I'm laying down the adhesive and using a notch trowel to evenly spread the adhesive over the floorboards. Then when I press on the floorboards and move them around, it'll evenly distribute the glue underneath the boards. I'm going to use the table saw to cut a 45 degree in two of the boards, so when I join them up on the edge of the step, it's going to line up really nice and neat. While Vendi goes about her favourite task of sanding for hours and hours, I want to remind you, if you're one of those cheeky buggers that still hasn't subscribed to the channel and the subscribe button is red, hit it, 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 hit it. Also, we don't mention this a lot, but if you'd like to see what we're up to currently on Instagram, follow us at Salty Van Ventures. We post day-to-day stories and a lot more stuff on a regular basis. So you can see this is actually a solid hardwood. It's only 10 millimeters thick, which is perfect for this van. Super lightweight, and the elastic glue underneath is holding really well. This thing is actually really solid and stops all the squeaking, which is I think what that glue was designed to do. So we've just finished sanding, raising the grain, made this nice smooth edge here by cutting a 45 in this and a 45 in this. Same with here. And we're about to coat it in this CFP Cavits floor water-based. So this is a polyurethane hard wearing for hardwood floors. I'm going to put it in satin. Let's see how it comes out. Vendi's going to do that. Do you ever speak in these videos, Vendi?
What should I say? Do not use the chisel for opening the can. Not good for the can, not good for the chisel.
Don't blunt my chisel.
Wooden floors in, you need to keep an expansion gap for when the floor expands in the heat, because if you don't, the floor might start to buckle up when it hits something solid. So I did leave a gap around the side here where it benches up against the kitchen unit, but the way you normally cover these gaps up is with skirting boards. So you can see down this side I'm going to put a skirting board along the back, which is easy to do with these cupboards, but because on this side I've got my drawers that come really low and the fridge that sits right here, I just put a really thin strip of closed cell foam. So that's going to stop like dirt and stuff going into the gap, and it's going to be a lot easier to clean, but it's also going to allow for that expansion. It's not a hard stop, so when the floor does expand and goes out, it's not going to start to buckle, so it'll just squish the foam. Okay, the last thing to finish off the floor in the van is I've made some skirting board. So I've just cut down some 40mm by 15mm timbers out of a 2x4, and then I've just routed one of the edges to a nice round smooth edge. So now I'm just going to cut that up and fill that gap where I've left that expansion gap between the seats and the floor, and that'll finish off the floor really nicely, hopefully. So the last thing I did here was install some automatic LED lights under the step, which come on when you open the door. This was wired in from the auto interior lights from the roof when I first got the van. So when I took everything out, I ran a wire from the original 12-volt light, which runs off the car battery, down this wall and under here, and run an LED strip underneath the step. So when you open the door at night, it illuminates the step and you can step in really easy. I also did this under the bed, so it illuminates the garage area when you open the back doors automatically, and also for the rear storage pull-out drawers, which I'll show you in another episode. Because I essentially cut the length of the original van step in half, I created this little pull-out drawer to really utilize the space under the seats. So I hope you got some use out of this video. We sure loved building these floors, and they just come out absolutely beautiful. We've had this now for a couple of months, so it's getting a little bit scratched, but the floor's holding up really well. These corners are holding up really well. There's absolutely no problems there. So if you like this video, remember always to hit that subscribe button. It'll really help us out. I really urge you to do that if you've really got anything out of this channel. Hit that like button below so it'll share this video to other people who might be interested, and we'll see you next time.